I made him an imam, and he accepted. He's born in Kuntaya village in Jokadu district. He went to Armitage High School, and he served in the former Gendarmerie. He continued in the military until he was honorably discharged. He went to further his education in the Gambia College School of Education, specializing in English and French. He went to Dakar University and then to France. Who do French and not go to France? Mr. C worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs first as a protocol welfare officer and at the Gambian Embassy in France and then Chancellor. He would later become Gambian Ambassador to France, Taiwan, United States, and permanent representative to UNESCO. Currently, Essa Bokar Sy is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the O.I.C Secretariat, the Gambia, and he doubles as Security Coordinator. Mr. Essa Bokar Sy.
Assalamu alaikum. I will begin in the name of Allah, the creator of our observable universe and what is beyond that. Alhamdulillah. Let us begin by thanking everybody here. I will single out my Goro, because you mentioned my wife and he is here, Chief of Staff, so thank you, Goro, for sitting down and listening, for everybody here. Well, we are faced with a topic here that is universal. Let's begin by asking ourselves, what is democracy? Academically speaking, we can begin with the following facet from analytical minds. Education is key in molding a society, raising awareness and shaping the psyche of a given society. However, quality is always the best in anything, particularly in education. Educators who design syllabuses and curriculum are indeed the backbone of any sophisticated society, which is why we are taught most and always what must be revisited and refined to avoid pumping quantity, not quality, into the tanks of public service. It is where it all begins before talking about processes, policies, structures, and institutions. Most of those who graduated from our schools, we heard it before, the other speaker said it. I would quote my dear sister we once met at QTV. I always admire her, Kumadafe. She does a great job. She said something similar to what I'm saying now. What does our school system make our learners swallow, then keep repeating it like some sparrows singing in the atmosphere? Democracy means system of government for the people, by the people, for weak people and by weak people. That's my question. Here is where the X factor that connects and disconnects those people from the true meaning of democracy itself comes into the equation, which is why an African scholar injected this. And when this African scholar injecting this, I was there with my sister Salimata Toure, and that is the late Dr. Davidson Nichol. He said democracy means access to resources with dynamic redistributive policies. Well, other scholars have something to say. Democracy is a form of government in which the people have the authority to deliberate and decide legislation. Some call it direct democracy. You can go through the list. Direct democracy, democracy index, democracy ranking, economic democracy, and power democracy. Well, let's escape. I use wow because I wanted us to come back to Gambia. Let's escape this threat, then reflect on the originality. The word democracy comes from what? They say from Greece. Well, Greece is in humanity. So for me, I want to say democracy is specifics for Greeks because they carved the word, but democracy is human, it's not Greek. So, meaning people, and kratos meaning with all the above meanings. Tabulated herein, we will now refuse to be caged within the circles of intellectual gymnastics. But before I go, I want to tell Haruna that I have 4 pages and each of them is 2 minutes. So when I come in 4th one, that's my 8-minute reminder. Let's simplify things and see how best we can sow a grain without a worm into the psyche of society. A case study is so ripe in the Gambia. We as a nation are caught between a post-colonial and post-tyranny era while being propelled into the futuristic discovery. Well, brothers and sisters, fellow citizens, I can comfortably say that before going any further, the components of the combustion engine of governance and services should be this: A, constitution; B, institution; C, functionality; D, service; E, national duty; F, national interest. Well, there are signboards on the road, though. Most of us find it difficult to understand those signboards, to read them. They are responsibility and opportunity. These are signs we as people cannot still read properly. I am included. What are the binoculars to use when reading these signboards? Because our eyes cannot see them. Now let's use binoculars. First is for one to rise above self, where selflessness is to feed or guide patriotism. Here I will invoke this formula: HLH. Honesty, loyalty, honesty. Be loyal to, be honest to yourself. If you are honest to yourself, you will be honest to the president, you will be honest to the ministers, you will be honest to the citizens. If you are dishonest to yourself, even if you advise, you are dishonest to yourself, dishonest to them, dishonest to the citizens. As citizens, and to be more precise, as servants of the nation, we must distinguish the difference between what is opportunity and what is responsibility. Let us avoid the common saying, "Ndeyam moko ligay." No, most of us cannot separate the two, charged with the responsibility to serve one's nation. Our own culture is a processing plant of attitudes that are completely incompatible with the true meaning of democracy. I'm sorry, but I have to say. It is indeed where we are awed by that intrinsic value embedded in service delivery to learn the art of detachment from our usual comfort zones of emotions and desires to what should remain national and reasonable in the service to one's nation. Here I will come back to my old speeches. We claim to be 90% Muslim in the Gambia, don't we? We do. Where that is the case, we don't need to go any further to understand. And our brothers also have the same teachings, who are the Christians. We have lived with them. They have participated in building me. I will end my speech on that question that I was asked on Capital Radio. Now, honesty, loyalty, honesty comes back. Now, if you are a Muslim and then you are asked to serve, you don't need to go to any school of thought to teach you what service means, what democracy means. Well, the Prophet Muhammad said, "Hubbul watan min al-iman." Loving yourself, loving your people, loving your nation is part of Iman. If you don't have Iman, you are not with God, you are not with Allah. Loving one's nation, or if you wish citizenry, is an integral part of faith. Prophet Muhammad came back. I'm speaking like this because Gambians claim to be 90% Muslim. He said, "Faman amila salihan falinafsi." Anything good you do is for your soul. Okay? Anything good that you do is for your soul. Prophet Muhammad also taught us to be working so hard, so much that anyone who observes us may think that we want to live forever or we will never die. Prophet Muhammad said, he equally said that, let us worship Allah to a point where anybody who observes us thinks that we think we are going to die in the next 5 seconds. I don't know anybody else who can teach you responsibility more than Muhammad if you call yourself a Muslim. Well, if you go to the Christians, who can tell me who sacrificed more than my namesake, Isa alayhi salam? He stood against tyranny and he was crucified. That's what sacrifices, that's what democracy calls, and that's what responsibility calls. Nothing escapes Allah. Well, those who know the verses, no. Nothing escapes him. So let's be very careful. Where one finds yourself surrounded by the above, you are compelled to remain honest to your soul and heart. Indeed, anyone who claims to be faithful to Allah with a reflective consciousness in his or her being should neither be corrupt nor serve your nation in a selfish way. One who lives by the above is equally obliged to remain tolerant within politics, ethnicity and religion against all odds. Yet should equally remain firm, just, impartial, and loyal to the flag, emblem, national anthem, national interest. Where all the above are combined, national duty will be free from deficiencies. Marching. Institutions without functionality are like cars without good engine. Functionality with excessive deficiencies leaves so much to be desired. On that note, that every citizen is expected to feed his or her soul with. But before I go, Haruna, I know, I like disobeying rules though, sometimes when I was in jail. Well, let me disobey the rule and people will be happy. I had Mrs. Daffes mention this. I want to come back to this. The woman. Any country that does not honor women, you don't honor children, you don't honor the disabled, you will never go forward. That is the truth, and that is what is in the United States. Okay? So this is, I want to give one example. Kennedy said, what can you do for your country, not what your country can do for you. We talk about it. I did it. You can go to New Fella. I didn't make noise about it. I bought a place, 100 meters square, fenced it, called the woman. Today they are farming there, and only thing I told them is trees. They do it and pray for me, and I have not met them yet. I will do another village farm in Kutai. Wallahi, that's it. Let us do what we say, and that's it. Thank you.